Let's dive into the weekly watch list. Before I do so, come over to ztrades.net, check out our terms and conditions page if you don't agree to it. Don't watch this video and don't join the newsletter or the community that's in the description below. Let's dive in. We have first off, with Bank of Japan hiking interest rates, and they plan to do so all next year. It'd be nice if the whole world could go into QE and QT together, but it doesn't really matter if a small country that, let's say Kazakhstan is going to go into QT. I don't know how their monetary system's set up. Um, but Japan really affects America big time, big time. Every time they've done QE, it's clapped crypto. So we're heading into heavy QE, which will offset Japan's QT. So, but then it's just hindered QE that we're going to be going into. And then there's another bear cycle. It would have been nice to go into QE here in the US. The second orange man got in at the beginning of the year, which would have offset the tariff drop, which was actually an amazing gift. Those of you should be doing somersaults when something like that happens. You want to see the market drop very fast, not slow, not a slow bleed, grind down, but a very, very, very fast, aggressive drop. Because the faster it goes, the faster it will recover in most cases. Example, COVID and April of this year. I wrote here that QT ends, the next chapter begins. Quantitative tightening has officially ended, but the macro setup remains uneasy. As markets look ahead to rewind liquidity, the Bank of Japan is signaling higher interest rates over the next year, a shift that could tighten global conditions and make QE less effective than many expect. Under the surface, market health looks poor. We've got more delayed data coming out from the government shutdown this week. Market health looks poor. Outside of PLTR and Tesla, leadership among the top of the S&P names is weak. Participation is thin. Pretend I didn't say that. And yeah, let's just move on from that. I don't know what I was writing there. So Palantir looks fantastic. Tesla looks great. The recovery on that was amazing. That drop yesterday, I couldn't figure out why we were dropping so hard. And then I find out about Japan, and I'm just like, why wasn't I looking at that news? I'm just like, what is the news here? What's going on? So I expected a bounce. And I got pulled into a trap here on Friday. I ended Friday. Friday was a red day for me. I rarely have red days. If I do, it's very small. And the next day the market opens, it's made back up. But Friday got me. I knew Tesla would recover, but there's a chance that it wouldn't. So I didn't want to just hold my positions. But if I did, would that have paid off? Oh my gosh. I'm in Palantir swings that I bought on that dip, which will probably carry me and are gonna, hopefully Palantir does well next week. But I got that at such a good price, it really offset the L from that unexpected drop. But let's look at SPY here. We are holding the 20. We have a volume gap here at around 674. If we zoom in a little bit more, we did respect the 20. We did respect it. We have the 50 right here. I want that area, this thin volume area. Let's take a look at QQQ. 1 second before I swap over here. We're going to take a look at the weekly on SPY. It's not really telling me too much. We did a 1, 2, 3. We're starting to peel over now. Let's go over to QQQ weekly. Sloppy dark cloud cover. That's almost that would classify, that would classify as dark cloud cover. Almost, yeah. I need to remove the engulfing there, but that's pretty much dark cloud cover. It doesn't look good. PT would be down here overall. I don't know if we're going to see that this month. We have the 50 right here. We actually may bounce. We may bounce to tonight when futures open. But I have my eyes peeled because we've got data coming out. I'm not so much worried about Monday. Monday will probably be recovery a bit. You know, we can dance around, but this is where I have my eyes set. 602 here on QQQ and around 575 on SPY if things head south, which, you know, I'm bull in the short term Monday, but overall I'm not really swinging anything other than Palantir, which I'm going to be okay on. I've taken a lot off the table. 15 contracts at that bottom on Friday, and let's take a look at that down here. Look at that bounce. I should have had the higher time frame up, right pretty much at the bottom, like almost perfectly. I didn't even see that 20 EMA there. If I had that up on the daily, which I was not monitoring, that would have been great. But you know, I've cut 13 out of 15. I'm going to be fine on that. So moving on. I really don't have anything that I like at all. Palantir looks good. If we start to pass above this body right here, this could come all the way this week up to that 189 mark. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Is that supposed to be bullish? That looks horrible. Look at that. Let me go ahead and let me fix this chart here. That looks awful. Look at the daily on that. That looks, I didn't even see this. Oh, man. I did not see that with that retest at the 20. You got to be kidding me. That is crazy. That was right when we had hit 182. Wow. And did that full send down. Let's keep it. I mean, that looks bad. Really bad. Really, really bad. If we ever clear that volume area, which we've been hanging out on this volume shelf for a while, you know, it came below it, came back up, and hung out on it again with a bear flag. That thin volume area is ridiculous. You know, look at all these gaps that we have. We've got a gap right here. We've got a gap here. We've got a gap there. I don't know if I necessarily, well, that would line up right with the volume shelf. I could see this thin volume area being, you know, if volume just gets lower and lower, it could drop faster and faster. That whole area could get eaten up. It'd have to be something really bad, though, really bad for that to happen. January is a predictor of the year. Old school metrics. Old school metrics were you measured Caterpillar. If Caterpillar, you know, you were watching what was going on in their earnings, and if it started to peel off, usually the economy would start to slow down. You would look for January. January was bullish, would usually be bullish for the year, and in the year bullish. If it was bearish, we'd be bearish. And I'd never seen that work. Some old school, old heads were telling me, you know, what they were doing in the 70s and the 80s. And I was like, that is funny. And in the 90s. And I saw that play out in January of 2022 when we went into quantitative tightening. That was obvious, though, that we were going to be red for the year. A lot of people didn't get that, and everyone argued with me that we were going to somehow be bullish through quantitative tightening the whole year. It's like those are all the pandemic cheating people that came in that just didn't know anything. Google, if we could just somehow see this gap fill down here, this volume area that doesn't even exist right there, and fill that gap, that would be amazing. Even down to this volume shelf, that would be cool. Gap still needs to be filled respecting the 20 down to 303, which has not been filled yet. If we take a look at the weekly, and I would not call that a bull flag. Take a look at the weekly. That gap has been filled. There's another one there. Look how far this is away from the 20 EMA on the weekly. I mean, that is just nuts. I would love this area, this volume shelf area. It's like looking just like Qubits was. But I can't go long there. You know what I mean? Who's going to go long here? That's like going long on gold now, which will probably be better than that. There's nothing left to be done. You can't do anything. And a lot of new people have to do something. Okay, so it's going to go down. Okay, puts. It's like, no, I'm not going to do anything. I'll wait, and if at some point it comes down here, then I'll go ahead and I'll see what happens here. We'll see what the setup is. There has to be a setup. And that is just, if we could come back to that baseline, even around 205, where this had hung out, that's probably not happening, though. That's not going to happen. I don't see, there has to be a setup. I don't see a setup on anything. My watch list is weak. I'm going to be sitting on my hands. So, yeah, I really got nothing here. I'm going to take a look at some other stuff. MRVL got smacked because it wasn't included in the S&P. CVNA, Carvana. My gosh, that looks like it's ready until the day of inclusion. Let's go ahead and take a look at Kava has been doing well. CMG, I did time that pretty much perfectly on that entry down there off that volume shelf. Perfectly, right around 30. And I think that it could come up to around that 38 mark. Lulu, we're going to just breeze over some stuff I haven't watched. Amazing bounce off this volume shelf here. Amazing. 50 EMA incoming. 218 to 220. I'd like to see that 220 mark. We're currently sitting at 205. Target. I've been bag holding on equity. I'm about to get my bread back on this. But let's take a look here. I'd love to see us back at 103. If I can somehow, what would be nice is if we could come back up in here. I'm just going to continue to hold on that. I've been in this so long. Over in here I was in, and somewhere over in here I got in. But, you know, every time it looks like we're going to come back up and clear that, it just doesn't happen. It may this time with Christmas. And I'd like to see us up in here. Other than that, I got nothing other than some small caps I'm going to be watching later on in the week. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.